for 21 years. I've written 4 best-selling books, and everything I'm going to share with you today is original material. Nothing is copied. I'm the actual author. This is live. You're welcome to ask me questions at any point. My first book is called Why Diets Are Failing Us, and much of what I'm going to share with you today, the original material comes from us. It's not made up. It's not fictional. Everything we're going to share with you is based on medical proof. We don't give people opinions, okay? We're going to show you today, this is really the main poster, and that is you actually can lose as much weight. I know it sounds crazy, in 7 days as 8 weeks. We're going to prove it to you in just a moment. And we're going to prove it to you with, these are 7 new peer-reviewed human trial studies. There's nothing higher in medicine. And we're going to show you, we're going to contrast that, which again, we write about in our books, about, honest to gosh, why diets are failing us, because they are. We have 80% of America overweight. We have 50% obese. We have 50% of Americans that are pre-diabetic. Hello, Laveratus, Kevin, Stephen Wilson, Montbello, User, Jessica, Wayne, Mohammed. My name is Peter Greenlaw. I'm a nutritional researcher for 21 years. We're going to bring you real medical proof today about why any diet you've ever been on, they don't work in the long run, and not an opinion. We don't give you opinions. If you want opinions, there's plenty of people on social media that can give you opinions, okay? We're gonna talk today from our 4 books, Why Diets Are Failing Us, the TDOS Syndrome, the TDOS Solutions, and my last book, Your Third Brain. Everything we're going to talk about today is original material that we've researched. So we're not copying anybody. It's all original, okay? Now, let's begin to talk about the fact that Jessica, Wayne, Mohammed, Bobby, Petra, Jamin, if you're really serious about improving your health, how excited would you be if you can safely lose as much weight in 7 days as 8 weeks of any diet you've ever been on? Unless you think it's unhealthy to lose that much weight that fast, it would be on a diet. In this case, the medical proof was people lost no water weight, but more importantly, instead of them losing lean muscle mass, they gained 6 to 9% lean muscle mass with no exercise at all. Hello, Trino. Hello, 570. Hello, David. Thanks all for joining us. I'm saying hi to all of you. Katana. I'm sorry if I pronounce your name wrong. Jamin, Stacy, Jill, etc. So for all of you today, we're going to show you the medical evidence. But the most important thing that I want you all to focus on is the fact that it is now possible, and again, only based on these 7 new peer-reviewed studies, not opinions, not claims, the actual medical evidence. Also, what we're going to do for you today, we're going to share our free research website. I'm going to put it here in the comments for you, the New Health. You'll see it posted here in just a moment for all of you. At any time, you can go to that site. It's free. There's nothing to buy there. My books are not for sale. It's all the medical proof. And if you like what you see, unlike any other, at least, influencers I can see on social media, we offer you free personal consultations with one of our coaches. We're not there to sell you or convince you or twist your arm. We don't know anything about you. Do you want to lose weight? Do you want to gain weight? Do you have any medical challenges? What exactly are you facing? So for all of you, you have an incredible, hello, Stacy, Jill, David, Trino, hello and welcome. This is the New Health Conversation podcast. My name is Peter Greenlaw. I've been a nutritional researcher for 21 years. I've written 4 best-selling books. I've done 20 shows on PBS and over 1,500 lectures all over the world. I don't tell you that to impress you. Hi, Santiago. I do it to let you know that everything that I'm going to share with you today is based on medical proof. Jill, I wish it was that simple. It's fiber is wonderful, no question about it. But we're talking about a whole different ball game here, okay? As a matter of fact, let me jump right into it. The main reason that you want to listen to me today or not is because every one of you, including you, Jill, have this medical syndrome. It's called TDOS. It stands for toxicity driven by nutritional deficiency, causing you to be overweight and stress. We're breathing and drinking, eating chemicals. And the fiber has no impact on removing chemicals from the body until now. These 7 new peer-reviewed studies, which 7 of them proved through blood, stool, urine, and fat analysis that this was helping the body to remove the chemicals we're storing in our fat cells. It's not up for debate. This is absolutely proven, and we were the ones that uncovered the research proving it. It wasn't really until 2005, early 2006, that we even knew we were storing chemicals in our fat cells. That was done by Mount Sinai Medical School in New York. Again, we write about it in our books. It's all original material. We don't make up things, okay? But let's get into it. Let's talk about why in the heck are diets failing us. Well, hello, Karoma. Hello, Lisa. Hello, Octavia. Welcome, everyone. This is the New Health Conversation podcast. So let me first deal with the concept. Anybody's welcome at any point to put in the chat, hello, put in the chat any diet that's not some form of lowering calories. The other thing I'm doing for you, again, I'm putting in the free research website where everything I'm talking about today, you can go and see for free. There's nothing to buy there. There's no celebrity endorsements. It's just the scientific proof. But let's look at traditional diets about lowering calories, because I don't know of a diet that's not some form of that until these new studies, which were not a diet, had nothing to do with lowering calories. And yet, for the new people coming on, people lost as much weight in 7 days as 8 weeks of any diet. They lost as much weight in 30 days as people on diets for a year, and they lost no water and they lost no lean muscle. As a matter of fact, they gained 6 to 9% lean muscle mass. But let's look at the first article, Harvard, just so you don't think I'm making it up. It's Harvard Medical School. You can see it right there, okay? And the title is Stop Counting Calories. Listen to what they're saying now. This idea of a calorie in and a calorie out when it comes to weight loss is not only antiquated, it's just wrong, says Fatima Stanford, obesity specialist at Harvard Medical School. She goes on to say, drop the calories notion, says Stanford. It's time to take a different approach, putting the emphasis on what's in the calorie, not how many calories we're consuming. Okay, that's the first big expert. Now let's read from this next big article. The title of this one is Why You Shouldn't Count Calories. None of it's our opinion. We're giving you original material that we've unearthed and written about in our books, okay? The 4 best-selling books that I've written, starting with Why Diets Are Failing Us. But listen to what they say about counting calories. Truth is, calorie counting is a terrible approach for weight loss. While counting calories and restricting calories can help you lose weight in the short term, this approach has never been proven to keep weight off long term. They go on to say, what's even worse, 2/3 of people who try to count or restrict their calories will gain back more weight than they lost. Were you aware of that? Hello, Teak, Jess, Gilbert, Dick Cummings, user, Cindy. I'm saying hi to all of you, okay? Just to let you know. So for the new people, my name is Peter Greenlaw. I've been a nutritional researcher for 21 years. I'm live. I'm the author of 4 best-selling books. We're going to talk about all that on this podcast. But the first thing I want to establish for you is this. These 7 new peer-reviewed studies, which actually the people consume more calories than any diet they were compared to. And yet listen to me, they lost as much weight in 7 days as 8 weeks of any diet. They lost as much weight in a month, in 30 days, as in 12 months of any diet. And they lost no water, and they, instead of losing lean muscle, they gained 6 to 9% lean muscle mass. Aren't you just a little bit curious? So user 625, Cindy Smallwood, Laurel L., welcome to all of you. This is live. This is not recorded, okay? Now let's look at some of the big traditional diets. Look, our job is to make you aware of what's available. We're making all the research, Why Diets Are Failing Us. These are my books. The TDOS Syndrome, TDOS Solutions, and Your Third Brain. We're making all of this data available to you on our free, and I mean free, research site. As you can see it, I'm going to post it for you right now. You can go there at any moment. There it is, the New Health Conversation. That's the theme of our podcast. That's also the research site. But I want to assure you, if you go there, we're not going to contact you. There's nothing to buy, nothing to see. My books, I'm not selling you my books. We're giving you the medical knowledge, and that if you like, there's a carnivore version, but way upgraded over carnivore. I'll talk about, if you want, some of the benefits of carnivore, but also some of the real shortcomings, one of which carnivore has nothing to do with dealing with this medical process that every one of us has, including me, called the TDOS syndrome. Simply put, as we're drinking and breathing, eating chemicals, the body's taking those chemicals and stuffing them inside our visceral fat. No diet, whether it's carnivore, whether it's paleo, keto, Mediterranean, none of them have ever dealt with detoxification of the body. But these new studies, I have them right here. There are 7 of them, not 1 or 2 or 3, 7. And they did blood, stool, urine analysis, and fat analysis, and proved that this protocol was helping the body remove herbicides and pesticides and the chemicals that we're all storing inside of us. That's what the TDOS syndrome is all about. But let's look at awesome, followed. Okay, now what I want to do for all of you, let's get into some of the big diet trends. Remember, everything we're sharing that's the research we did in writing our 4 best-selling books. All these books were written, by the way, with MDs. It's a good title for me. You can see it at the top, Researcher of Researchers. It's not my research, but I'm bringing the research to the world. So I'm like a nutritional research journalist, I guess you could say, in one sense. But like I said, I've written 4 best-selling books. I appeared 20 times on PBS. I've done over 1,500 lectures all over the world. And the bottom line is that you all have an incredible opportunity to absolutely change your lives if you want to do that. So I'm going to put it up there again, the free website, the new. And I promise if you go there, we're not going to contact you. We don't need to do that. We don't need to convince you. What you'll see on that site is all the scientific proof. Oh, by the way, there's an interview with the #1 nutritional researcher in the world for the last 38 years, who he and his team conducted these studies. You'll hear him say, despite whatever diet you think you're on, they'll never recommend a traditional diet ever again after 38 years, over 150 studies, thousands of people. And what did they see? Yes, people lost weight, whether it was paleo, keto, carnivore, didn't matter. But in every case, every time, the majority of up to 40% of what people were losing was lean muscle. The minute they stopped, they gained everything back, no matter what the diet was. It didn't matter, okay? This is the first time in history, this protocol, which they named R2M, stands for Race to Maintenance, where the people lost weight. Like I said, they lost as much weight in 7 days as 8 weeks of any diet. They lost as much weight in a month, as you'll see, compared to diets in a year, and they lost no water and they lost no lean muscle. They gained 6 to 9% lean muscle mass. No one's ever seen anything like this, ever, okay? Now, for some of you that are coming on, and you're probably skeptical, et cetera, what we're discussing today, believe it or not, is the fact you can absolutely lose as much weight safely in 7 days as in 8 weeks of any diet, okay? What we're doing is making it available that you can go and you can actually see the medical proof. Again, I'm going to put it up here one more time, the new health conversation. Okay, so again, let's come back to these 7 peer-reviewed studies. It was 80% women, 20% men, no one allowed to exercise because they didn't want exercise to be an outlier, okay? And like I've said several times now, you would think that the weight loss was dramatic. It was, like I said, in 7 days, they lost as much weight as people on diets in 8 weeks. They lost as much weight in a month as in a year of diets. You'd think that's the #1 thing. That isn't even close to the #1 thing. The #1 thing was this. First of all, blood pressure, blood sugar, cholesterol, triglycerides, all came down dramatically in 30 days, not 30 weeks. In addition, inflammation, which is, if you don't know it, it's the underlying cause of every disease out there. It came down 25% in 30 days. Hunger came down 41% in 30 days. And in 8 weeks, people shrank their belly fat, called the visceral fat, by 33% with no exercise, no sit-ups of any kind. I know it sounds too good to be true, but you can see it, Mimi, right there, the new health conversation. See it right there, no spaces. Just type in the new health conversation, just the way it's spelled right there for all of you, okay? Look, I know you're all skeptical. I can tell by the number of people that are switching on and then switching off and they don't stay. But look, we're completely different at the new health conversation. Here's why. The reason we're different is we only supply you with medical proof. We don't give you opinions. Everything that I'm sharing with you today comes from my 4 books, Why Diets Are Failing Us, the TDOS Syndrome, the TDOS Solutions, and my 4th book, Your Third Brain. On that free research website, if you go there, there's nothing to buy. I don't want you buying my books. You don't have to buy them because we provided you a free research site with all the evidence and all the proof is right there at the New Health Conversation for any of you to go and see. But here's the other part. Like Mimi, if you go there, you can sign up. It'll say free personal consultation. That's what it means. And you'll be interviewed by one of our coaches who is there to answer, because we don't know if you want to gain weight, do you want to lose weight, do you have any medical challenges? This is not a diet. This isn't 3 recipes to lose weight, cut calories. No, none of that actually works, okay? So now let's contrast what I've been talking about are these 7 peer-reviewed human trial studies. Look, when you have a peer-reviewed human trial study, it's what's called irrefutable evidence. It basically, you submit your work to one of these big journals. The journal, they won't publish it until it gets reviewed, but not by them, not by the journal, but by other world-class experts. That's what peer review means. These are medical doctors and research scientists who are paid to do one thing, to prove what you're trying to prove doesn't work. They're literally there to discredit you. That's why no drug ever gets approved without going through the peer-reviewed process, okay? Now, what's interesting, these research scientists for weight loss and for health, for 38 years, they've done 150 studies, and they figured out what didn't work. We'll get into that in just a moment. But I just want to contrast a couple of quick, big studies on traditional diets so you can see the contrast, okay? Like I said, these people lost as much weight in 7 days as 8 weeks of any diet, lost as much weight in a month as a year on any diet. Instead of losing lean muscle, which you'll see on all these diets, they gain 6 to 9% lean muscle mass with no exercise at all, okay? So let's go first. A big trend now is time-restricted eating, where you don't eat for 16 hours and you eat for 8. Code word, you're consuming less food. Now listen to what they said in this study, which was done in the Journal of the American Medical Association. Here's what they said. The Journal of the American Medical Association, new research found that overweight adults who were assigned to routinely fast 16 hours daily, eating all their meals between noon and 8, popularly known as the 16-8 diet, gained almost no benefit from it. And over the course of 3 months, they lost 2 to 3.5 pounds, and most of the weight they shed was not body fat, but lean muscle mass. There's your Achilles heel to any diet you're on. There's your Achilles heel to any hope you have to maximize your quality of life potential, okay? Now let's go to another huge study. This one's 12 months, and hopefully you can read it. The New England Journal of Medicine, one of the top medical journals in the world. What's interesting is these protocols, in this case, they took a group of people for 12 months. One group of people simply did lower calories. The other one did time-restricted eating. What did they find after 12 months? After 12 months, the people who reduced their calorie intake in a year lost 16 pounds in a year. And those people that did time-restricted eating in a year lost 12.6 pounds. But again, here's the Achilles heel. Both the time-restricted eating and daily caloric restriction diets led to the loss of lean muscle. Every one of these diets, every time, up to 40% of what you're losing is lean muscle. Now, why is that so bad? It's so bad because two really unhealthy things happen to you when you do that. Again, we wrote about it in our books, right? First thing that happens, when your body doesn't have enough nutrition, it doesn't give a hoot about a calorie. It doesn't even know what a calorie is, doesn't count calories. When you go on a diet, you're reducing the amount of food, and when you do that, you're reducing the amount of nutrition. When your body senses there's not enough nutrition, it goes in starvation mode, prevents you from burning fat, and begins to break your muscles down into carbohydrates for fuel. But it's so inefficient, what it does to you, it slows down your metabolism. That's why all the diets you go on, you gain all the weight back. You can listen to all these influencers, and they're going to tell you, oh, this is all great. Yeah, you can lose weight on any diet, but you're not maintaining it. I read to you from the other study where they said 2/3 of people who go on diets end up gaining more weight than they lost in the long term. Isn't that what you're concerned with? Now let's talk about these 7 new peer-reviewed human trial studies, okay? What did they do? That's the big question, right? Okay, so the first thing that the researchers figured out was that in all the diets that they'd done, in the 150 studies over almost 40 years, every time they were lowering the amount of food they gave people, which meant they got less nutrition. But in every case, every time, people lost up to 40% of their weight was lean muscle mass. Every time the people, once they stopped that diet, they gained all the weight back or more. So they knew that any strategy moving forward of lowering the amount of food and not dealing with nutrition. Because once your body doesn't have enough nutrition, you'll stop burning fat and you'll burn muscle. So what they did was this. They said, all right, on all the other studies we relied, people consumed 100% of their food from, the grocery store, organic, whatever, right? In this case, they knew that food in North America was becoming more and more nutritionally bankrupt. So they only let the people consume 40% of the food from the grocery store. The other 60%, and here was one of the keys, was from 5 food groups from around the world. And the researchers, they don't sell anything. They didn't find these food groups, but they found companies, what are called fulfillment companies, that had spent their last 25 years going to places like Russia, Mongolia, Manchuria, to Tibet and the Himalayas, South America, New Zealand, to find foods, massive amounts of nutrition, like used to be in the food in this country. So 40% of their food came from the grocery store, 60% of their food came from around the world. Then they did two revolutionary new ways of consuming food. One is called protein pacing. What does protein pacing mean? It means specific amounts of protein at very specific times over about a 12 or 14-hour period of time. The second thing they did that was completely different, which is what enabled the body to remove, chemicals from the fat cells, is called intermittent nutritional fasting, not fasting, or time-restricted eating. That's what they did. And what were the results? And the results are published in these 7 major studies. Men and women lost as much weight in 7 days as Aaron, welcome. Men and women on these new studies lost as much weight in 7 days as 8 weeks of any diet. They lost as much weight in a month as people lost in a year. As a matter of fact, I read to you from the New England Journal of Medicine. They did a 12-month study. People lowering calories lost 16 pounds in a year. Those people doing time-restricted eating lost a pitiful 12.6 pounds in a year, a little over a pound a month, not a week. These people who weren't allowed to exercise lost 16 pounds in 30 days. And instead of losing lean muscle, which is the case on all diets, they gained 6 to 9% lean muscle mass with no exercise at all. You show me anything on the planet like that. Now, at any moment, you're also welcome. I'm going to show it to you here in just a moment. The New Health Conversation. This is for all of you. This is a free research site. I'm going to show it to you. I'm going to bring it up on the screen in just a moment once I can share this. Okay, there you go, the New Health Conversation. Let me show you the website. Medical, not just the pounds and inches, but cholesterol, HDL, A1C, et cetera, et cetera. It will shock you. You've never seen anything like this. See, the main reason to do this or consider it is not to lose weight. That's a given. That's like we almost joke and say that's a forgiven. I mean, but again, the people in these studies lost 16 pounds in a month, which took a year on any diet. And we're not debating, there's no debate here. We're not saying that you can't lose weight on a diet. What we're saying is you can't keep it off long term. We're also saying that on every diet out there, according to the research, up to 40% of what you're losing is lean muscle mass. It is. It's not fat, okay? No matter what they're telling you. I mean, I see these influencers coming on and saying, well, the majority of what you lose, like on time-restricted eating, is fat. Really? Well, how about the Journal of the American Medical Association, who did a big study on time-restricted eating, where you don't eat for 16 hours and eat for 8, and they said the people that did the 16-8 diet, eating most of the meals between noon and 8, gained almost no benefit from it, and over the course of 3 months, they lost 2 to 3.5 pounds, but most of the weight they shed was not body fat, but lean muscle mass. That's what's going on. You can pretend anything else. You can say, well, I'm losing weight. I did carnivore. I did whatever. Great. But that weight loss is going to come running back to you the minute you stop that particular protocol. Not an opinion on our part. We wrote about it in our books. But the people in these studies, they consumed, as it turned out, more calories than the people on the other diets. Now, how in the world did that help them lose weight 12 times faster? Well, this is another book. I didn't write it. It's a great book called The New American Diet. And what they talked about in here was about nutrition. And here's what they said. The more nutrition you give your body, the fewer calories it wants to eat, and the more efficiently it burns the calories you do eat. So in the studies, keep in mind, they lowered hunger 41% in 30 days. They consumed more calories than any of the diets they were compared to. But like they said they were really dense nutrition calories, which were really easy for the body to process. That's why they lost weight 12 times faster than any diet, because they were never in a deprivation, a deprived state of nutrition. Where everybody has it wrong, they keep telling you that the only way to lose weight is to lower calories. Have any of them ever mentioned to you that the body doesn't know what a calorie is? It's just a measurement. It's the amount of heat it takes to raise a gram of water 1 degree Celsius, not anything less, not anything more. Why are you counting calories? Because someone told you to. Where the only thing the body relies on to run our brain, kidney, liver, heart, etc., is nutrition. Now look, if it was just based on calories, think about this. Let's say that we agreed that in order to lose weight, we need to be on 1,500 calories a day. If that's the only measurement, then this is what you could do. Behind door number 1, the diet would be lean, chicken, fish, whatever, 1,500 calories. Behind door number 2, if it's just based on calories, 1,500 calories, 3 bags of M&Ms. You see the lunacy in that argument because you're not taking into account what? What's in the calorie. That's what we wrote about in our first book, Why Diets Are Failing Us. Because instead of counting calories, we need to make every calorie count. We wrote this book in 2010. Now, there's been a couple of updates to it since then. And we didn't, until a year ago, we didn't have the peer-reviewed human trial studies. So for 20 of my 21 years being a nutritional researcher, I had before and after pictures, I had cool stories, etc. But I had no proof. The site, you can see the New Health Conversation. It's absolutely free to go there. There's nothing to buy. No, my books aren't there. I don't want you to buy my books. I don't want you to believe me. But if you go to that site and you see the absolute medical proof, you can sign up for a free consultation. Not a trick. Hello, Mezeros. Okay. There are no tricks. We don't have to fool you. We have the medical proof backing everything that I'm telling you. And the studies, not just these studies of this new breakthrough, which is not a diet, but also studies from the New England Journal of Medicine, from the Journal of the American Medical Association, showing you the results of medical research on pretty much all the diets out there. As a matter of fact, I'll show you this one study. This is now a study in the Journal of the American Medical Association titled Comparison of Weight Loss Among Named Diet Programs. What did they do in this study? Well, they looked at all the big diets. They analyzed them. So paleo, Jenny Craig, Weight Watchers, Nutrisystem, time-restricted eating, fasting, the Cornish diet, lose weight for your blood type, whatever it was, right? Now, in this case, why this study is so relevant, it's 48 different studies, not one study, 7,286 people across pretty much all the diets. So again, this is medical proof. These are not claims. This is really what's going on. So before you get your heart broken going on another diet that's just going to fail you in the long... Look, we got 80% of America overweight, 50% are obese, 50% of Americans are pre-diabetic. You know, like 20% of our kids now are obese. Did you know that? What's going on? This is insane. But what did they find after 12 months? When they took the diets, whether it was paleo, keto, time-restricted eating, and contrasted the most amount of weight loss to the least amount of weight loss in a year, it was 10 ounces in a year. And what was the weight loss after a year? Average, 16 pounds. And of the 16 pounds, up to 40% was lean muscle mass. The same as the New England Journal of Medicine study. This is on the website. You can go there and see it. Let me show you the website. Much even about weight loss, although when you see the amount of weight they lost with no loose skin, you'll think that we photoshopped them. We didn't photoshop them, okay? Oh, Menzero, Ozempic, okay? I'm going to show you. Let me bring you up to speed. Now, let me clarify for you, and if I'm pronouncing your name wrong, I do apologize, okay? This is a huge study. Hopefully you can read the title, the New England Journal of Medicine. Again, probably the top medical journal in the world. They did a 68-week study. Now, I'm not against the shots. Don't hear me say that. I'm not. They're helping diabetics. Some people are so desperate, it's their only way to lose weight. But what kind of weight are they losing and what's going on? This was a 68-week study, a year and 4 months. At the end of 68 weeks, the average weight loss was 32 pounds in 68 weeks. But here's the thing you want to always be concerned about. In the study, back here, they got graphs, etc. 40% of what they lost was lean muscle mass. So if they lost 32 pounds and 40% of it is lean muscle, it's about 14 pounds of lean muscle. Now, you can talk to anybody that's been on the shot. If they're coming off, they're gaining as much as a pound every 2 or 3 days, okay? They're gaining all the weight back way faster than they lost it. And again, I'm not against the shots, but contrast that with these 7 peer-reviewed human trial studies. Nothing artificial, no shots, and they weren't allowed to exercise. They lost 16 pounds in a month. And instead of like in the New England Journal of Medicine, where they lost 40% of their lean muscle, these people gained 6 to 9% lean muscle mass and lost no water. But that wasn't the big issue. The big issue is in a 30-day period, blood pressure, blood sugar, cholesterol, triglycerides all came down dramatically. Triglycerides came down 25% in 30 days. But also, for the first time ever, inflammation, which is the underlying cause of every disease, according to the medical world, it came down 25% in 30 days. Hunger came down 41% in a month without tricking your body. You understand how the shot works. It slows down the food moving through your digestive tract. Therefore, you consume less food. It's a diet, okay? It's effective. But it appears that if people, they're literally going to have to stay on that shot for the rest of their lives. Because the minute they come off it, they're gaining all their weight back, just like on every other diet out there. And if it can help people, great. We're not against it, right? We're not saying anything bad about it. But just so you, look, what we do is we give you real medical proof, not opinions, right? My gosh, the visceral fat, which is the dangerous fat in our body around our organs, okay? In 8 weeks, that shrank by a third, 33% in 8 weeks with no exercise, no sit-ups, no crunches, no anything. Now, why is it so important that you understand about this new medical syndrome? TDOS stands for toxicity driven by deficiency, overweight, and stress. You, me, everybody in the world has this. As we're drinking and breathing and eating chemicals, whether you know it or not, your body, to protect you, is taking those chemicals and stuffing it inside your fat cells. Period. That's what's going on. But they're doing really bad things to you as well. Let me read what they say about it. This isn't my opinion. They're backing up what I proved in the TDOS syndrome, which, by the way, the TDOS syndrome is a registered trademark, U.S. Patent Office, not a copyright, a trademark. And that's a huge deal because they recognize it. It's up there with metabolic syndrome, syndrome X, right? But the New American Diet, which is written by Stephen Perrin, editor-at-large at Men's Health, here's what they say about these chemicals that we're drinking and breathing and eating. First of all, they have a name. You know what they're called? Obesogens. And they say, that's a scary word and one you've probably never heard before. But if you want to lose weight and keep it off for good and protect your body, your family, and your environment in the bargain, you'll need to understand the term. Simply put, obesogens are chemicals that disrupt the function of our hormonal systems, leading to weight gain and many of the diseases that curse the American populace. They enter our bodies from natural compounds found in soy products, from the artificial hormones fed to our animals, from plastic pollutants in some food packaging, and from chemicals added to processed foods, and from pesticides sprayed on our produce. They act in a variety of ways, mimicking human hormones such as estrogen, blocking the action of other hormones such as testosterone, and altering the function of our genes and essentially reprogram us to gain weight. No, whether it's carnivore, paleo, keto, never, ever been one shred of evidence that any of those are helping the body get rid of the obesogens, all right? Until now. In these studies, that's the main reason to do this, is to assist your own body in removing those chemicals. But it's not an opinion. They did blood, stool, urine, and fat analysis proving herbicides, pesticides, PCBs were coming out of the body. And one of the huge benefits was people lost weight in a week. It took 8 weeks on any diet, lost as much weight in a month, 16 pounds in a month. It took a year on any diet, lost no water, so it wasn't water weight. And instead of losing any lean muscle, they gained 6 to 9% lean muscle mass with no exercise and shrank that visceral fat, because that's where the body's storing the chemicals. So we breathe in a herbicide or pesticide, the body doesn't know what to do with it. It takes it and stuffs it inside our fat cells, and the fat cells expand like a balloon. Well, they were able to determine that fat shrank. It doesn't go away, but it shrank by 33% in 8 weeks. That's the main reason to do this, or not. Go follow any of the influencers. Did they even tell you about the TDOS syndrome? But there's more evidence than just what I read in the New American Diet. Let's talk to one of the top toxicology experts in the world. Listen to what they're saying about why weight gain is completely out of control. Dr. Paula Bailey Hamilton is considered to be one of the world's leading authorities on toxic chemicals and their effects on our health. She says, what appears to be happening is that our natural slimming system is being poisoned by the toxic chemicals we encounter in our everyday lives. And this damage is making it increasingly difficult for our bodies to control their weight. The end result is that we gain weight in the form of fat and not muscle, as chemicals tend to cause muscles to shrink and body fat to accumulate. So what diet are you on that's going to deal with that? See, that's the problem. Even if you're doing carnivore, whatever, your body's going to... you can't get rid of these toxins. Okay, I get the why. We all get the why. What do we do? Okay, so let me explain it to you. So let's start with some basic user 862. What do they do? Okay, so let me explain it to you. So what they basically did, the researchers who are considered, not by me, but by experts, as the top weight loss nutritional experts in the whole world for 38 years. They've done 150 studies on every diet out there, okay? So this was complete new theory. They'd never done anything like this before. But here's what they learned in 38 years of every diet they put people on, even if it was organic, it doesn't matter. When people went on a diet, they consumed less food. Now, again, not to blow up your bubble on organic, 200 studies prove that organic is slightly better nutritionally than regular food. I eat organic, but not because of nutrition. I eat it because it's less polluted. So let's clear that up right away. So what the researchers did, they realized that every diet they'd ever put people on, where they lowered the quantity of food, they were lowering the nutrition, and in every case, people lost weight. But the weight they were losing was lean muscle mass. At the end of those diets, when people stopped, they gained all their weight back, okay? So they figured, okay, we can't do another program where we're just relying on lowering the amount of food, code word calories, but calories don't, the human body doesn't know what a calorie is. The human body knows what nutrition is. So what did they do? They changed the rules. Now, they didn't know if this was going to work, let's be clear. So they had people only consume 40% of their total food they would consume in a month from the grocery store. They gave them amounts. So it was proteins, fats, carbs, fruits. They gave them amounts. Okay, that was really important. But the other 60%, and here's for user 862 and everybody else, why this worked. They identified fulfillment companies that for the last 25 years had gone around the world to places like Russia, Mongolia, Manchuria, Tibet and the Himalayas, South America, New Zealand, to find foods that had massive amounts of nutrition, regardless of the number of calories. Because they knew, for example, that our food in this country is becoming more and more nutritionally bankrupt, even if it's organic, okay? Just to give you an idea with organic, what's one of the things we're the most deficient in? What are called trace ionic minerals. And I'm not talking about iron, calcium, magnesium. I'm talking about things like gold, silver, zinc, beryllium, boron, molybdenum. We need 70. And in the best organic studied, you get 15 to 20 minerals out of 70. So you understand right away, even though you're doing everything right, and I even do organic, it's woefully short of the potential we have as human beings to not only just live our best life, but to maximize our quality of life. So you're operating right now, even with your best intentions, you're getting 20 out of 70 minerals. Now, let's talk about, so 40% of the food from the grocery store, 60% from these foods around the world. Now, what was the other critical thing that they found? One of the most important things that you're eating, even if you're doing organic, or any of the rest of you, is consuming protein. But protein itself, believe it or not, the protein itself is like a walnut shell. Protein from a plant or an animal is totally not usable by the human body. As a matter of fact, what's not converted into the 20 amino acids contained in, here's the dichotomy here. We have to have protein because it's the only way we get the 20 amino acids that we need. 9 are called essential. You have to get them from your diet. The other 11 are non-essential. Okay, so you'd think you're ingesting 120 grams of protein. Let's just use plant or animal. You'd say, well, that's great. I'm getting 120 grams of protein. No, you're not. It doesn't mean anything to your body. What matters is what percentage of those 20 amino acids contained in either a plant or an animal-based protein are you absorbing? I know this makes vegans mad. I'm just a scientist. I'm giving you the data. They developed a test in Europe about 10 years ago. It's called net nitrogen utilization, where when you ingest protein, they can tell you from 0 to 100 what percentage 0 to 100 is your body actually absorbing, okay? Plant-based proteins are 10%. All animal proteins, whether they steak, chicken, liver, fish, are at 30%, okay? Well, the researchers found a source where the absorption, the amino acids, was 91%. There's no organic, there's no grass, not that they recommend actually grass-fed beef or hamburger, but it doesn't even come close. That's why, for example, on something like the carnivore diet, it's okay, but you still aren't getting the 70 minerals, and you're getting 30% of the amino acids, no matter how much of the steak, chicken, whatever you're eating, okay? So then, now they had the ingredients, or they thought they did. Then they had two completely different ways of consuming food. First one's called protein pacing. Well, that's where this source with the 91% absorption became so important, because they knew the body needed amino acids. But the amount of steak, chicken, liver, and fish that people would have had to eat to get the maximum amount of amino acids that we can use, they would have had to eat 3 times as much. So 40% of the protein they consumed was from, grass-fed beef, chicken, liver, swordfish, whatever it was. The other 2/3 came from this protein source with 91% absorption. So right away, they consumed a third less and created a result even better. And the second thing they did, sort of piggybacking on that, they did something called intermittent nutritional fasting, not fasting, okay? Where on those days, the people essentially consumed 4 of the foods, which by the way were liquids. So it was like liquid nutrition, for lack of a better term. And the reason that was important is our body is capable of detoxing, and we do it every single night when we go to sleep, as long as we don't eat too late. What the body does once we go to sleep, it suspends digestion. And when you suspend digestion, the body automatically turns on the detox mechanism every night. It's called autophagy. That's when the body takes the dead cells out. So what did these researchers do? They created a 48-hour intermittent nutritional fast, and people, through blood, stool, urine, and fat analysis, the body was removing the chemicals from the body. That's the main reason to do this. Now, as a result, the researchers were shocked at this tremendous amount of weight loss, no loss of lean muscle. Well, the reason they didn't lose muscle, it's real simple. The way the body makes lean muscle is with one, even if you do exercise, you still need one of those 20 essential amino acids called leucine. So imagine now, the people in the studies with no exercise allowed were getting 91% of the amino acid that's responsible for making muscle in the body, right? Oh, anyway, so user, here's the thing. You can go to our website. It's the New Health Conversation. I know you probably can't see the comments. I'll type it in there for you. And you can, if you want, once you go there and see everything, you can sign up for a free consultation with one of our coaches. And I mean free. It's not a gimmick. It's not a trick. It's not somebody an 800 number, because we don't know anything about you. And we really need to educate you. But the website is 100% free. You'll see all the medical proof, and then it says sign up for a free consultation if you want. But we're not holding anything back. We show you the medical evidence. We show you a walkthrough of much more detailed explanation of what they did. The medical studies are there, and there are before and afters which show the medical results, not just the weight loss. So hopefully, good. So it's the New Health, like it sounds, Conversation. Hopefully you can see it there. If not, hopefully you can remember that. And no spaces. The New Health Conversation is just all one big long word, okay? So anyway, thanks very much for listening, user 862. I hope you'll go there for your benefit, because it really can, not that you're doing anything wrong. I do organic, but it's still woefully short if you want to maximize your human potential, okay? And I say this with all due respect to everybody. Everybody has no idea how bad you feel right now, because you don't understand how good you could feel. And you're relying on, go to social media. Every person, every time, what are they telling you the way to lose weight? Is to lower calories. Well, we blew that up even in the very beginning. I'll go back just real quickly here. These are 2 big article studies that came out. I'll read the second one. It's the most dramatic. Why you shouldn't count calories. Not our opinion. We write about it in these books. Why you shouldn't count calories. You know why? Because truth is, calorie counting is a terrible approach for weight loss. While counting calories and restricting calories can help you lose weight in the short term, the approach has never been proven to keep weight off long term. What's even worse, 2/3 of people who try to count or restrict their calories will gain back more weight than they lost. That's what you're up against. You can pretend that that's not happening, but all these studies show that up to 40% of what you're losing, including on the shots, is lean muscle mass. And that there's no way around it. Your body, once you lose lean muscle, you can't burn, you're way less efficient. And your body can't function. Because with less lean muscle, your body has to slow down metabolism. Has to. It doesn't have a choice. But the other thing you should be concerned about is when you lose lean muscle, you also interfere with the functionality of your own immune system. Does that make sense to everyone? So I know a lot of you are trolling, strolling, whatever. I'm going to put the poster back up there for some of you. This is what we've been talking about. Achieve 8 weeks of results safely in just 7 days. It's not a gimmick. It's not some sales tool. We have 7 peer-reviewed human trial studies. I'm holding them up here in my hand for the new people that absolutely prove everything that I'm saying about you really can lose as much weight in 7 days as in 8 weeks of any diet. Aren't you a little bit curious? Or not? I mean, it's up to you. Look, I've spent 21 years in research writing Why Diets Are Failing Us, the TDOS Syndrome, TDOS Solutions, and Your Third Brain with medical doctors over 21 years. And I can tell you in that 21 years, for 20 of those years, not one medical doctor would even take a look at this, because what they want is proof. And what's the highest proof mechanism that we have, period? Peer-reviewed human trial studies. I have 7 of them. There's 7. They were published in the Obesity Journal, the Nutrition Journal, Frontiers in Nutrition, Frontiers in Physiology, Nutrients, International Journal of Research and Public Health, and Nature Communications, which is the #1 medical journal in the world, Nature Communications. And that study wasn't even so much about weight loss, about the health of our gut, what's called our gut microbiome, which we had written an extensive book on called Your Third Brain, which had nothing to do. The study that was done way after we wrote this book. But we talked about the importance of the microbiome, of the gut, in terms of it being your immune system, etc. Well, now these researchers proved that this protocol massively increased the functionality of your gut. I mean, isn't that of some interest to you? I mean, I would ask any of you, aren't you just a little bit curious? Because, again, I'm going to put it up there for any of the people that want to do it. You can go to the New Health Conversation, and it's free to go there. There's nothing to buy. Only thing there is the medical proof. I'll show you one more time. Not just weight loss pictures, but their blood pressure, their blood sugar, all those things are there for you to see. And you can see it right there, the New Health Conversation. So, I'm just curious if any of you have any questions for me, because I'm here live. A few people have, chatted or come in about it, but I would say that, for the most part, I understand that it's really hard for you to wrap your head around that something like this actually exists. It's really, the people in the studies actually had an expression. They said, just give us 4 days. And what did they mean by that? They meant that they lost as much weight in 4 days as they'd ever lost in a month on a diet. And they certainly lost, based on the studies, they lost as much weight in 7 days as in 8 weeks of any diet. Lost as much weight in a month in 30 days as a year on any diet. I mean, you be the judge. You want to go on a diet to take 8 weeks to lose the weight you could lose in just a week? But on every diet out there, what are you doing? You're slowing down your metabolism because you're losing your lean muscle mass, period. It's not something we're making up. I mean, that's what the proof is, right? And when you have 4 books that we took 20 years of research to put them together, all written with big-time medical MDs, period. That's it. And we want to give you an alternative. We want to give you a place where you can go to see the medical proof. So I'm going to wrap up this live, this podcast. I'm going to do another one in about, let's see, what time is it? Yeah, I'm going to do another one in a little bit less than an hour. because there's so many people that want this information and not everybody can necessarily jump on or stay on at any given time. So I would wish you all well. And there it is again, the new health conversation. You can all see it there, the new health conversation. You can go there even after this pod, whenever you want to do it. But here's the thing that I want to impress upon you. There's nothing to buy there. There's no celebrity endorsement. The only thing there is the medical proof of this revolutionary breakthrough that is going to basically obsolete, hi Chad, every diet that's out there, okay? Every diet out there. Again, I wrote the definitive book, Why Diets Are Failing Us, because they are. We have 80% of America overweight, 50% are obese, 50% are pre-diabetic. Does anybody really think this is working? And what's the main sentiment that you hear over and over and over again? The only way to lose weight is to lower calories. No, that's been completely debunked even by the New England Journal, by Harvard Medical School. The counting calories is obsolete, it's outdated, it's antiquated, it doesn't work. The whole emphasis needs to shift, not on how many, because see, even counting calories is ridiculous because the human body doesn't even know what a calorie is. All the calorie is a measurement. It's the amount of heat it takes to raise a gram of water 1 degree Celsius. It's nothing more, nothing less. You have an unbelievable opportunity to access this science. It's not opinions. The new health conversation, we don't give you opinions. If you want an opinion, you Harley Guy 15. Apple Salzer, welcome. Nice to see you. This is the new health conversation. You can see up there, achieve safe weight loss in just 1 month with no exercise. It's not some gimmick. Hi, Kristen. So I hope that more of you will take advantage. You can see that Researcher of Researchers, that's my title. The new health conversation is a free research site where you can go. There's nothing to buy there. There's no tricks. There's no celebrity endorsements. There's the science that we've proven today. We have 7 peer-reviewed human trial studies where men and women really did lose as much weight in a week as 8 weeks of any diet. They lost as much weight in 30 days as a year on any diet, lost no water, and instead of losing lean muscle, which is the case on every diet you go on, whether you believe it or not, the medical science backs it up, they gain 6 to 9% lean muscle mass. So why would you not at least be curious enough to see the free research instead of just believing people that are giving you their opinions? With all due respect, there's chiropractors, there's medical doctors, there's dietitians, there's nutritionists, hi Mimi, that are telling you that the only way to lose weight is to lower calories. Well, if that was the case, why is 80% of America overweight and 50% are obese? Hi Mike. So the point is that for the new people coming on, I'm a nutritional researcher for 21 years, and we've been talking about the title, Achieve Safe Weight Loss in just 1 month with no exercise. The difference between making a claim, I've got 7 peer-reviewed human trial studies that were published in some of the biggest medical journals in the world of this new revolutionary approach. It's not about counting calories. It's not a diet, where people did lose as much weight in a month as people lost in a year on any diet. And instead of losing lean muscle, which is the case on every diet, they gained 6 to 9% lean muscle, lost no water. I know it sounds like science fiction. It's not. They also lowered blood pressure, blood sugar, cholesterol, and triglycerides in 30 days. They lowered inflammation. None of these other diets even touch that. Lowered it by 25% in 30 days. People dropped their hunger by 41% in 30 days. And in 8 weeks, they shrank their belly fat, called the visceral fat. That's the fat around all our organs. That went down by 33% in 8 weeks with no exercise. The researchers didn't allow anybody to exercise because they didn't want exercise to be an outlier, to be something that, look, I know I do this all the time. I'm doing anywhere from 3 to 4 podcasts a day to get the message out. Prior to COVID, I had lectured over 1,500 times live all over the world. I've even been to China. But in one sense, COVID forced me to change. And first I went on Zoom, and then I discovered TikTok, which has been the greatest platform I've ever seen. I'm on other social media platforms as well, but TikTok has been really, really good to get this message out to all of you. Think about it. What are we really trying to do? We want to make you aware of a completely different approach to losing weight and getting healthy that has nothing to do with traditional diets about lowering calories. And what's the difference? Instead of it being an opinion, it's these 7 medical journals that back it up. These studies were done in the Obesity Journal, Nutrition Journal, Frontiers in Nutrition, Frontiers in Physiology, Nutrients, International Journal of Environmental Research and Public Health, and Nature Communications. These are the biggest journals in the world. So what that should do for you, number one, it's proven 100% to be safe. But number two, everything that they're talking about, all the data in there has been vetted. It's been examined. And if you understand what a peer-reviewed human trial is, when you submit to one of these big medical journals, they decide if they're going to publish it, they don't review it. That's what peer review means. So what they do is they take your data, they send it out to other world-class experts, in this case, medical doctors and researchers, and they have one job, and that's to disprove what you're claiming. You heard me, to disprove what you're trying to claim. That's why you won't see any of these supplement companies, the stuff you see on TV, none of them. They say, oh, we have a scientific analysis, we have a scientific paper. That means zero. That doesn't mean a thing. And if it was so good what they're claiming, to sleep better, lower your blood, whatever they're talking about, they'd want to have a peer-reviewed human trial study. Why? Because it ends the discussion. There's no conversation about a peer-reviewed human trial study other than say, oh my gosh, this is unbelievable. That's why companies won't do it. Because if you submit your data and they run it and it doesn't match up to what you're saying, they publish the bad results. I mean, that's our system works. That's why no drug ever gets approved unless it goes through a peer-reviewed human trial on humans. Not on mice, not on rats, not on a petri dish, not an experimental approach. But it's based on real people, real scientific analysis. I mean, hopefully that makes sense to all of you. You know, I would say this, that obviously you can do whatever you want to do. If you want to go, there's plenty of people, I mean, hundreds from what I can see on social media. Like I said before, medical doctors, chiropractors, dietitians, nutritionists, weight loss coaches, fitness trainers, etc. They're all barking the same language. It's getting tired because 80% of Americans are overweight and 50% are obese. But, you know, you would think, oh, it's just the United States. We're just overweight in the United States. Well, this is a new study. It was published in March of this year, so March 19, 2024. This is a study released by The Lancet, arguably the #1 journal in the world. What did they say? Now it's estimated, no, I said not estimated. Now more than 1 billion people worldwide are clinically obese, making obesity the leading form of malnutrition worldwide. They go on to say, most people are not aware that obesity and being underweight are both forms of malnutrition, because in both cases, the people are not getting the right amounts of vitamins, minerals, nutrients, and types of calories that are required to be healthy. What? Wait a minute. We got 1 billion people clinically obese, making obesity the leading form of malnutrition worldwide. And most people are not aware that obesity and being underweight are both forms of malnutrition, because in both cases, the people are not getting the types of calories required to be healthy. Well, what did they do in the peer-reviewed in these studies? They found sources that did have tremendous amounts of vitamins, minerals, nutrients, and the types of calories required to be healthy. Do you know that these people consumed more calories than the people in any of the diets that they ever were compared to? And here's why. This is a really good book, The New American Diet. I didn't write it, but Stephen Print, editor-at-large, really summed it up when he talked about why nutrition, not calories, is the most important thing to all of us. Listen to what they said. The more nutrition you give your body, the fewer calories it wants to eat, and the more efficiently it burns the calories you do eat. That's why what these researchers did by giving people actually more calories, but they were incredibly dense. So here's a good example. It'd be like your car. You have two choices. One pump you fill up, you get 20 miles to the gallon. The pump next to it, you get 100 miles to the gallon. Why wouldn't you use the fuel that gives you 100 miles to the gallon? Because it's so much less wear and tear and waste on your engine. Well, our body's an engine. So the only thing that matters is you want to give the body as much nutrition as possible. And if you can do that with the fewest number of calories, In other words, if you took regular food and tried to equal the nutrition that they used in these studies, you'd be talking about thousands and thousands of calories. Why? Because our food in this country is all but nutritionally bankrupt. I mean, there are estimates that, they're not my estimates, but I've seen them that you took an an orange from 30 years ago, you got to eat about 6 to 8 oranges today, about a dozen apples. And Cornell University did a study on spinach from 1953 to today. They estimate that spinach nutritional value has decreased, you ready for this, by 4,300%. So this whole concept of you eating healthy, good luck with that. And I'm not trying to be a smart aleck. Those are the numbers. So anyway, I hope this has been useful for all of you. You can see the new health conversation right there. It's free to go there. There's no gimmicks. We're not going to sell you anything. There's nothing to buy. There's no celebrity endorsements. It's just the absolute, the medical proof. So I hope you will go there. And like I said, I'm going to be doing, what time is it? Yeah, I'm going to be doing, in about 45 minutes, I'm going to be doing another live. So hopefully you can maybe refer somebody to it. And if you went to my TikTok site, The New Health Conversation, and liked it, that'd be great. But other than that, have a great rest of your afternoon. I hope this has been helpful to all of you.